Hey everyone, welcome back to Speak Better English. I'm Sarah, and today I've got Adam with me. Adam, how's it going?
Hey, Sarah. I'm good. Actually, I'm really glad we're doing this topic today because something happened to me last week and I froze.
Oh no. What happened?
Okay, so I was at a dinner with some colleagues, and this guy Mark, he starts asking me about my salary, like directly. So, Adam, how much do they pay you? And everyone's looking at me. And I didn't know what to say. I mumbled something, and then the conversation got super weird.
Oh, that's rough. And you just sat there?
Yeah, I felt trapped. I didn't want to answer, but I also didn't want to be rude. So I said nothing useful. And then there was this long silence. It was terrible.
Okay, so first of all, you are not alone in this. I think almost every English learner I've talked to has had a moment like that. Someone asks something uncomfortable, or the conversation goes somewhere you really don't want it to go, and you just freeze. You don't know how to move the conversation somewhere else without sounding rude or abrupt.
Exactly. That's the thing. In my language, I know how to do it. I can say, hey, let's talk about something else, and it sounds fine. But in English, I'm scared it'll sound aggressive, like I'm shutting the person down.
Right. And that fear is completely valid. But here's the thing, Adam. Changing the topic is not rude. It's actually a social skill. Native speakers do it all the time. The trick is how you do it. And that's exactly what we're going to figure out today.
Okay, I'm ready. I need this.
Let's do it. So, the topic today is how to change the topic politely in English without being rude. And I want to start by saying something important. When you change the topic, you are not rejecting the person. You're not saying, I don't like you, or I don't want to talk to you. You're just saying, let's go in a different direction. The relationship stays the same. You're changing the topic, not the relationship.
That actually helps. Because I think in my head, I was treating it like I was insulting Mark.
And you weren't. You just didn't want to talk about your salary. That's a completely normal boundary. So let me walk you through a simple framework. 4 steps. And I want you to remember these because they'll save you in so many situations.
Okay, hit me.
Step 1, listen. Step 2, acknowledge. Step 3, bridge. Step 4, redirect. Listen, acknowledge, bridge, redirect.
Listen, acknowledge, bridge, redirect. Okay, can you break that down for me?
Sure. So, listen means you actually hear what the person said. You don't just ignore them. Acknowledge means you show them you heard them. Maybe you say, that's a good question, or I get why you're asking. Bridge is the transition. It's the little phrase that connects what they said to where you want to go. And redirect is where you actually introduce the new topic.
So it's not just blurting out, let's talk about something else.
No. And honestly, if you just say, let's talk about something else, it can sound a little blunt. Not terrible, but a little blunt. The 4 steps make it smooth. Let me show you with your salary example. So Mark asks, how much do they pay you? Step 1, you listened. You heard him. Step 2, acknowledge. You could say, that's a fair question. Step 3, bridge. I actually don't talk about money stuff at dinners. Step 4, redirect. But hey, did you catch the game last night?
Oh, wow. That sounds so natural. And it doesn't sound rude at all.
Right? Because you acknowledged him. You didn't pretend he didn't ask. You just gently moved the conversation. And the bridge part is key. I actually don't talk about money stuff at dinners is you setting a boundary. But you're doing it in a casual, light way. You're not lecturing him. You're just stating your preference.
Okay, I like that. But what if I can't think of a bridge in the moment? Like, my brain just goes blank.
That's totally fine. You don't need a perfect bridge every time. Sometimes the simplest bridge is just, you know what that reminds me of? Or, speaking of which, or even just, oh, that's interesting. Hey, before I forget, these are all little connectors that help you pivot. You don't need to be clever, you just need to be smooth.
Before I forget, I like that one. It makes it sound like you just remembered something important.
Exactly. It gives you a reason to shift. And the other person doesn't feel rejected because you're not saying, I refuse to answer. You're saying, oh, something just came to my mind. It's a very natural conversational move.
Okay, so let me try. If someone asks me about my relationship status, and I don't want to talk about it, I could say, that's a fair question. I actually keep my personal life pretty private. But hey, before I forget, did you end up going to that concert?
That's great, Adam. Really natural. See? You just did it.
Huh. I actually did. That felt easier than I expected.
It always feels harder in your head than it actually is. Okay, so now let's get into some real scenarios. Because changing the topic isn't just about personal questions. There are different situations where you need this skill. And I want to go through 3 big ones. The first one is personal boundaries, and we kind of just touched on that with the salary and relationship examples. But let me give you a few more.
Okay.
So imagine someone at a party asks you, why don't you have kids yet? Or, when are you going to get married? These are super common, and they can feel really invasive. What would you do?
I hate those questions. I think I'd say, I don't want to talk about that. But that sounds rude, right?
It's not terrible, but it is a little direct. And depending on the context, it might make things awkward. Let's use our framework. Listen, acknowledge, bridge, redirect. Try it.
Okay. So, I hear you. I know people are curious about that. I'm actually not really planning anything right now. But hey, how's your new apartment coming along?
That's solid. You acknowledged that they're curious, which makes them feel heard. Then you gave a very short, non-committal answer. I'm not really planning anything right now. You didn't owe them a full explanation. And then you redirected to their apartment, which is something they probably enjoy talking about.
Yeah, and it feels less confrontational. Like, I'm not building a wall. I'm just opening a different door.
That's a great way to put it. You're opening a different door. Now, here's another one in this category. Sometimes people ask about your health. Maybe you were sick recently, and someone says, so what's wrong with you? What did the doctor say? And maybe you don't want to share medical details with a coworker.
Yeah, that makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about my body with people at work.
Totally fair. So you could say something like, oh, I appreciate you asking. I'm doing much better now, thanks. I'd rather not get into the details, but I'm good. Hey, did you see the email about the project deadline?
I'd rather not get into the details. That's a good phrase.
It is. It's polite, but firm. You're not being mean. You're just saying, this is my boundary, and I'm moving on. And then you immediately give them something else to focus on. The project deadline? Now they're thinking about work, not your health.
Okay, I'm starting to see the pattern. You don't have to explain yourself. You just acknowledge, set the boundary, and move.
Exactly. And here's a quick tip. If you're worried about sounding too abrupt, you can add a little warmth before you redirect. Like, I appreciate you asking, or that's sweet of you to worry, or thanks for checking in. Those little phrases soften everything. They make the other person feel like you care, even though you're not answering the question.
That makes sense. Okay, what's the second category?
The second one is emotional or negative conversations. This is a big one. Sometimes you're in a conversation and the other person keeps going deeper and deeper into something negative. Maybe they're complaining endlessly about their job, or they're gossiping about someone, or they're bringing up politics and it's getting heated. And you think, I need to get out of this conversation topic before it gets worse.
Oh, I've been there. My friend talks about his ex for like 45 minutes every time we meet. And I love him, but I just can't do it anymore.
And you don't want to say, stop talking about her. That would hurt his feelings. But you also can't keep listening to the same thing over and over. So what do?
I usually just stay quiet and hope he finishes.
Which works, but it's exhausting for you. Let's try the framework. He's talking about his ex again. You listen. You acknowledge. Maybe you say, yeah, that sounds really frustrating. And then you bridge. You know what? I think you deserve a break from thinking about all that. And then redirect. Let's talk about something fun. Have you seen any good movies lately?
You deserve a break from thinking about all that. Oh, That's nice. It makes it about caring for him, not about me being annoyed.
Exactly. You're framing the topic change as something positive for him. You're not saying, I'm bored of this. You're saying, let's give your brain a rest. It's the same action, but the feeling is completely different.
Okay, what about gossip? Because that's another one I struggle with. People at work start talking about someone who's not there, and I don't want to participate, but I also don't want to sound judgmental.
This is tricky, right? Because if you say, I don't gossip, you sound like you're putting yourself above them, and nobody likes that. So instead, try something like, oh, I actually don't know much about that. Hey, speaking of work, did you hear about the new policy they're rolling out? You're not judging them. You're just not engaging with the gossip. And you're offering a different work topic.
I actually don't know much about that. That's clever, because it's not even a refusal. You're just saying you don't have information, and then you move on.
Right. You're not making it a moral issue. You're just removing yourself from the conversation naturally. And most people will follow your lead. If you introduce a new topic with energy, they'll usually jump on it.
And what about politics? Because I have a group of friends, and every time we get together, someone brings up politics, and it gets really tense. And I just want to enjoy dinner, you know?
I know. And you don't want to be the person who says, we're not allowed to talk about politics. That feels like you're being the fun police. Instead, you can wait for a small pause and say something like, you know what? I think we could argue about this all night and nobody's changing their mind. Let's call a truce and talk about something else. What's everyone watching on TV these days?
Nobody's changing their mind. That's honest. And let's call a truce makes it sound like a game, not a serious shutdown.
Exactly. You're keeping it light. You're not saying, this topic is bad. You're saying, we've gone as far as we can go with this, so let's have fun instead. And then you redirect to something everyone can participate in. TV shows, food, travel plans, whatever. Something neutral and enjoyable.
Okay, I feel like I'm getting the hang of this. What's the third category?
The third one is flow and topic shifting. This is less about uncomfortable situations and more about keeping a conversation alive. Sometimes you're talking to someone and the topic just dies. There's a pause. And you think, what do I say now? Or maybe you've been talking about one thing for too long and it's getting repetitive. You need to shift to keep the energy going.
This happens to me all the time. I'll be talking to someone at a networking event, and we'll run out of things to say about the conference, and then there's just silence. And I panic.
And you shouldn't panic. Silences are normal. But if you want to keep things moving, you can use what I call topic bridges. These are phrases that connect the current topic to a new one. For example, if you've been talking about the conference, you could say, so this is my first time in this city. Do you live here, or did you travel for the event? Now you've moved from the conference to the city to their life. It's a natural progression.
Oh, that's smooth. You're not just jumping randomly. You're using the current topic as a springboard.
Exactly. Another one, if you've been talking about work, you can say, so what do you do when you're not working? Like, how do you switch off? Now you've moved from professional life to personal life, but it feels connected. You're showing interest in them as a person.
I like that. How do you switch off? That's a nice way to ask about hobbies without sounding like a job interview.
Right. And here's another useful one. If you want to shift to something completely different, you can say, this is totally random, but. Or, completely unrelated, but. Or, I've been meaning to ask you. These phrases signal to the other person that you're changing direction, and it gives them permission to follow you.
This is totally random, but I've heard native speakers say that a lot. I always wondered if I could use it.
You absolutely can. It's very natural. It tells the other person, hey, I'm about to go somewhere different, and that's okay. It removes the awkwardness of a sudden topic change.
Okay, so let me practice. If I'm at a coffee shop with a friend and we've been talking about the weather for too long, I could say, completely unrelated, but have you tried that new restaurant on 5th Street? I've been wanting to go.
Perfect. Natural, easy, no awkwardness. You just moved the conversation forward. And notice you didn't say, the weather is boring, let's talk about something else. You just moved. Like a river changing direction. Smooth.
Like a river. I like that. Okay, so now I want to talk about mistakes. Because I know I make mistakes when I try to do this in English.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about the common traps. The first one is being too abrupt. Like, someone's telling you a story and you just say, "Anyway, what's for lunch?" No transition, no acknowledgement. Just jump. And the other person feels like you weren't listening.
I've done that. I was nervous, and I just wanted to change the subject, so I blurted something out. And the person looked at me like I was crazy.
And that's because you skipped the acknowledge step. Even a tiny acknowledgement helps. Oh, that's wild. Hey, what's for lunch? See? 2 words. That's wild. Now they feel heard, and the transition is smoother.
2 words. I can do 2 words.
You can. Another mistake is over-explaining. Some learners feel guilty about changing the topic, so they give a long explanation. "I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. I just really don't want to talk about this. It's not that I don't trust you. It's just a personal thing. And I hope you understand." And by the time they finish, the moment is gone and it's weird.
Oh no. I've definitely over-explained before. I once spent like 2 minutes explaining why I didn't want to talk about my weekend, and the person just stared at me.
And that's because you turned a small redirect into a big speech. You don't need to justify yourself. 1 short sentence for the boundary, 1 sentence for the redirect. That's it. I'm keeping my weekends low-key these days. But tell me, how was your trip? Done. No apology needed, no explanation needed.
No apology. That's hard for me. I always want to say sorry.
I know, but think about it this way. If someone changed the topic with you, would you be offended? Would you think they're being rude?
Probably not. I probably wouldn't even notice.
Exactly. Most people don't even notice a smooth topic change. They just follow the conversation wherever it goes. You're being way harder on yourself than anyone else is.
Okay, that's comforting. What's another mistake?
Tone. This is a big one. The words you choose matter, but the way you say them matters even more. If you say, "Let's talk about something else," with a flat, cold voice, it sounds like a command. It sounds like you're annoyed. But if you say the same words with warmth, with a little energy, it sounds like an invitation. "Let's talk about something else" can sound completely different depending on how you deliver it.
So it's not just what I say, it's how I say it.
Yes, and in English, this is really important. A rising tone at the end of a sentence makes things sound friendlier. "Hey, should we talk about something else?" sounds much softer than, "Let's talk about something else." The question form invites the other person. It gives them a choice. Even though you both know you're changing the topic, the question form makes it feel collaborative.
That's a good point. Questions feel less aggressive.
They do. Another tone trap is sarcasm. Some learners try to use humor to change the topic, and it comes out sarcastic. Like, "Oh, great. Let's keep talking about the weather for another hour." That's not funny. That's passive-aggressive, and the other person will feel it.
Yeah, I can see how that would backfire.
It always backfires. If you want to use humor, keep it warm, not cutting. Instead of, "Let's keep talking about the weather for another hour," you could say, "Okay, I think we've officially covered every cloud in the sky. What else is new with you?" That's playful without being mean.
Every cloud in the sky. That's cute. Okay, I like that.
All right, so let's do some role play. I think this is where it really clicks. I'm going to set up a few situations, and I want you to respond naturally. Don't overthink it. Just go with your instinct, and I'll help you if you get stuck.
Okay, I'm a little nervous, but let's do it.
Scenario 1. We're at a friend's birthday party. I've been talking about my new diet for about 10 minutes. You're not interested, and honestly, you find it a little boring. You want to change the topic. Go!
Okay, that sounds really intense. You know what? I just remembered. Have you tried the cake yet? I heard it's amazing.
Good, you acknowledged what I said. That sounds really intense. And then you redirected to the cake, which is relevant to the party. Nice. One small thing though. That sounds really intense, could sound slightly negative depending on your tone. If you want to be safer, you could say, "Wow, you're really committed." That sounds more positive.
Wow, you're really committed. Yeah, that's better. Okay, next one.
Scenario 2. We're coworkers. We're in the break room. I start complaining about our boss, and I'm getting really negative. I'm saying things like, "He's terrible. He doesn't know what he's doing. I can't stand him." You don't want to participate because you're worried someone might hear. Change the topic.
Okay. Yeah, work's been stressful lately. Hey, I don't want to get into it too much in here. Did you end up finishing the report for Friday?
That's really good, Adam. You acknowledged the stress without agreeing with the negative stuff about the boss. And you gave a practical reason to stop. I don't want to get into it too much in here. That's smart, because it's about the location, not about judging me. And then you redirected to work, which is neutral. Well done.
Thanks. I was worried that sounded too stiff.
It didn't. It sounded professional and kind. Okay, scenario 3. This one's a little different. You're talking to me, and I ask you, "So why did you quit your last job? Was it because you got fired?" And that's not true, and it's an uncomfortable assumption. You want to correct me gently and move on. Go.
Oh, that's tricky. Okay. No. I actually left by choice. It was time for a change. But hey, I'm way more excited about what I'm doing now. Have you been working on anything interesting lately?
That's great. You corrected me without making me feel bad. No, I actually left by choice. Quick, clear, no drama. And then you pivoted to the present and future instead of staying in the past. And you turned the attention to me, which is generous. You made me feel included in the conversation.
I was trying not to sound defensive. Did I sound defensive?
Not at all. The no at the beginning was quick and light. If you had said, "That's completely wrong. I was not fired. I would never be fired," that would sound defensive. But you kept it short and moved on. Perfect.
Okay, one more. Give me a hard one.
All right, we're at a family dinner. My aunt asks you, "So when are you going to settle down and start a family?" You're not getting any younger. You don't want to answer, but you also don't want to create drama at a family event. Handle it.
Oh, family dinners. The worst. Okay. I appreciate the concern. I'm just focusing on myself right now and seeing where things go. But Aunt, I heard you went to Italy last month. How was it? I've always wanted to go.
Adam, that was excellent. You acknowledged her without being rude. I appreciate the concern. You gave a very vague, non-committal answer. "I'm focusing on myself." And then you redirected to her trip, which she probably loves talking about. You turned the spotlight onto her. And at a family dinner, that's the smartest move. You avoid drama, you make her feel interested, and the conversation moves forward.
I'm actually proud of that one. That felt natural.
It was. And notice how you didn't say, "That's none of your business." You didn't say, "Stop asking me that." You just flowed around it, like water around a rock. The conversation kept moving, but you didn't crash into the uncomfortable topic.
Water around a rock. I'm going to remember that.
Okay, let's do one more role play, but this time I want to test something. I want to see what happens when the topic change doesn't work perfectly. Because in real life, sometimes people push back. They say, "No, wait, I want to finish my story." Or they bring the topic back. So let's practice that.
Okay, that does happen to me.
So I'm talking about my neighbor's drama, and I've been going for a while. You try to change the topic, but I pull it back. Ready?
Ready.
And then she told the landlord that the leak was his fault, and he got so angry, and then she called the police. Can you believe it? And then...
Wow, that's a lot. Hey, I just remembered. Didn't you say you were looking for a new gym? Did you find one?
Oh yeah, maybe. But wait, let me finish this. So after the police came, she actually...
Okay. Yeah, sounds crazy. Listen, I'm really curious about the gym thing. Is it the one near the park?
Okay, I'll let it go. Yeah, it's the one near the park. It's actually not bad.
Phew. Okay, that was harder.
It was. And you handled it well. The first time I pulled back, you didn't get frustrated. You said, "Yeah, sounds crazy," which is a tiny acknowledgement, and then you redirect it again. And the second time, you showed genuine interest in the new topic. "I'm really curious about the gym thing." That made me want to follow you because you made the new topic sound interesting.
So if they push back, I just try again? Gently?
Yeah. You don't need to force it. You don't need to say, "I told you I don't want to talk about this." Just keep offering the new topic with energy and interest. Most people will follow you after the second try. And if they really don't, you can always say, "Tell me the rest later. I want to hear about the gym now." That's direct but friendly.
Tell me the rest later. That's good, because it doesn't shut them down completely. It just postpones.
Exactly. You're not saying, "I never want to hear this." You're saying, "Not right now." And that's a much softer boundary.
Okay, I feel like I've learned so much. Can we do a quick recap? Because I want to make sure I remember all of this.
Of course. So the big idea for today is change the topic, not the relationship. When you shift a conversation, you're not rejecting anyone. You're just guiding the conversation in a direction that works for everyone.
Change the topic, not the relationship. Got it.
The framework is listen, acknowledge, bridge, redirect. You listen to what the person said. You acknowledge it in some small way. You use a bridge phrase to transition. And you redirect to a new topic.
Listen, acknowledge, bridge, redirect.
We covered 3 types of situations: personal boundaries, like salary, relationships, health questions, emotional or negative conversations, like gossip, complaining, heated debates, and flow and topic shifting, which is just keeping a conversation alive and interesting.
Right. And for all of them, the same framework works. You just adjust the tone.
Exactly. And we talked about common mistakes: being too abrupt, over-explaining, wrong tone, sarcasm. The fix for all of those is the same. Keep it short, keep it warm, and always offer a new direction.
Keep it short. Keep it warm. Offer a new direction.
And the role plays showed us that it works in practice. You handled a boring diet conversation, a coworker complaining about the boss, a wrong assumption about your job, a nosy family member, and even someone who wouldn't let the topic go. You did great.
I did feel more confident by the end, honestly. The first one was scary, but by the last one, it felt almost automatic.
And that's the goal. You don't need to memorize scripts. You just need the framework and a few go-to phrases. The rest will come naturally once you've practiced a few times.
What are some good go-to phrases I can keep in my back pocket?
Okay, quick list. For acknowledgement, "That's interesting." "I hear you." "I get why you're asking." "That sounds tough." For bridges, you know what that reminds me of? Speaking of which, before I forget, this is totally random, but, that makes me think of. For redirects, have you seen any good movies lately? How's your project going? Did you end up going to that place you mentioned? What are your plans for the weekend? You can mix and match. Any acknowledgement plus any bridge plus any redirect equals a smooth topic change.
That's actually really manageable. I don't need to learn 50 phrases. I just need a few from each category.
Exactly. 3 or 4 from each, and you're set. You'll have dozens of combinations.
And the tone thing. Keep it warm. Use questions when I can.
Yes. Questions invite. Statements can feel like commands. So when in doubt, turn your redirect into a question. "Should we grab some food?" Instead of, "Let's grab some food." "What do you think about?" Instead of, "I want to talk about." Small shift, big difference in how it lands.
Okay. I feel like I actually have tools now. Like, next time someone asks me an uncomfortable question, I won't just freeze.
You won't. You'll listen, acknowledge, bridge, redirect. And if your brain goes blank, you can always fall back on, "Oh, that reminds me." And then just say the first thing that pops into your head. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to move the conversation forward.
Oh, that reminds me. My safety phrase. I like it.
It's a great safety phrase. Works in almost any situation. And here's one last thing I want to say. You don't owe anyone an answer to every question. You don't owe anyone your salary, your relationship status, your medical history, your future plans. You are allowed to redirect. You are allowed to say, "I'd rather not get into that," and move on. That's not rude. That's self-respect. And in English, you can do it with grace. You can be kind and firm at the same time.
I needed to hear that, because I always felt guilty, like I was being a bad person if I didn't answer.
You're not. You're just a person with boundaries. And boundaries are healthy. They make your relationships better, not worse. Because when you're comfortable, you're more present. You're more engaged. You're a better conversationalist. So protecting your comfort isn't selfish. It's actually generous to the people around you.
Wow, I never thought about it like that. Being comfortable makes me a better friend.
It does. Think about it. If you're sitting at dinner feeling trapped and anxious because someone asked you about something personal, are you enjoying the conversation? Are you being a good friend? No. You're just surviving. But if you redirect and you feel comfortable, now you're laughing, you're engaged, you're asking them questions, you're present. Everyone benefits.
Everyone benefits. Yeah, I think I've been so focused on not being rude that I forgot about being kind to myself.
And you deserve that kindness. So here's my challenge for you this week. Next time you're in a conversation and you feel that little twinge of, "I don't want to talk about this," try the framework, just once. Listen, acknowledge, bridge, redirect. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to try. And I promise you, it will feel easier than you expect.
I'll do it. I have a dinner with colleagues on Thursday. I'll try it there.
You'll do great. And if it feels awkward the first time, that's okay. It's a new skill. It gets smoother every time you use it. Like a muscle. The more you practice, the more natural it feels.
Like a muscle. Yeah, I can work with that.
All right, so let's wrap up. Today we learned how to change the topic politely in English. We learned the framework: listen, acknowledge, bridge, redirect. We practiced with personal boundaries, negative conversations, and keeping the flow going. We talked about common mistakes like being too abrupt, over-explaining, and getting the tone wrong. And we did role plays that showed how it works in real life.
And the big takeaway for me is, change the topic, not the relationship. I'm not pushing people away. I'm just guiding the conversation.
That's it. That's the heart of it. You're not being rude. You're being skilled. You're taking care of the conversation so that everyone feels comfortable. And that's actually a really generous thing to do.
I feel a lot more confident than I did at the start of this episode. Like, I actually think I can do this on Thursday.
You can. And you'll sound natural. You won't sound like you're reading from a textbook. You'll just sound like a person having a conversation, because that's what this is. It's not a performance. It's just two people talking. And you get to choose where the conversation goes.
I get to choose where the conversation goes. Yeah, I like that.
You do. All right, everyone. That's it for today's episode of Speak Better English. If this helped you, if you felt a little more confident by the end, share it with a friend who needs it. And remember, you don't need perfect English. You just need the courage to speak and the tools to navigate the conversation. And now you have those tools.
Yeah, you've got this. Go change some topics. Politely.
Politely. Always politely. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Adam.
And we'll see you in the next episode. Take care of yourselves. And remember, speak better English, one conversation at a time.
See you next time.